So the next is not on your test, but you do need to know that cleft palate speech is a very denasal sound because a baby may have been born with a hole in their palate, and obviously you can't have a hole in your palate because you'll die because air goes to your brain. So thankfully, modern science can create palettes. And when you're working with palettes and different size palettes, because you start off as a baby and it grows, so you need several surgeries. You sound a little different. You sound denasal. So I think every adult needs to know that. So I just think adults need to know that. Okay, so denasal. We know what denasal is, that block there. Dialect, we've heard that word throughout the years. So what does it mean? Well, it has two parts. First part, we use other words to describe the same object. I may have a sandwich for lunch. You can have a hoagie or a hero or a sub or a grinder or a pool boy, depending on where you are. That's why dialect, by the language you use, typically we can tell where you're from. The night before Halloween, All Hallows Eve, Gate Night, Goosey Night, Cabbage Night, depending on where you are. Do you say tractor trailer, trailer truck, 14-wheeler, rig? Do you call the sprinkles on your ice cream Jimmy's? Do you call tourists shoobies? And the second part of the definition is the production of sound. So standard American English says water. In this region, we say water. So I can tell from what sound substitutions, omissions, additions, distortions, where you're typically from. Glottal fry, we learned what that meant in our vocal quality. Now here's glottal stop. That means you're stopping the sound or the air in the middle of a word. And it's usually a word with T in the middle or double T. So standard American English says that we need to say little. In this region, we say little. Glottal stop, little, bottle, button. Now, British tend to say, what's the title of the book? Title, and that's fine. But we don't say that here. Standard American English says it's little, bottle, button. Hard palate, that middle portion of the roof of the mouth. We went over hoarseness in our voice quality. Intervocalic is a slight sound that attaches our words. American English is known to be connected speech. We speak in phrases. And what connects the phrases is an intervocalic. So let's create a phrase. Fish store. Fish store. And when I say it nice and slow, fish, 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 trying for you to hear, fish, fish store. It's a slight that connects it. You could try it yourself and feel it. Different than robotical, that cannot create that intervocalic sound yet. Mandible, lower jaw. Maxilla, upper jaw. We're more concerned with the mandibula being relaxed for our oral resonance. Re-stressing. Now, many reasons you mispronounce words, and this is one of them. You put the stress on the wrong part or the wrong syllable. So years ago, you called it where the accent is in the word. But again, in this course, we use accent differently, so we call this stress. So here, the stress is on the first syllable, produce. Here, the accent's on the second syllable, produce. So a farmer will produce produce. Here, the stress is on the first syllable, conduct. Here, the stress is on the second syllable, conduct. Timmy, conduct your conduct in class. So you can see that if I re-stress, I'm creating different words or I'm mispronouncing. So organization, organization, organization. I put the stress on the shun. It shouldn't be there. Organization. Okay, so that's called re-stressing. And in many times when we change words from organized to organization, we get confused where to put the stress, and therefore you can mispronounce the word. The septum is the dividing wall of your nose. Strident, we know, is that high-pitched, tense voice. Velum is the scientific name for soft palate, and the sounds that we make with our soft palate and the use of the back of the tongue are k and g, so you can locate your soft palate. Dynamic speech, when you got it all, you're using your vocal variety and you're using your standard American English pronunciation. And we use the word forward focus when we're talking about sending the vowels forward and creating that oral resonance rather than not sending the vowels forward for the audience to hear or for a listener to hear. So forward focus, send it forward. Inflection, the change in pitch. I believe we had that before, but in any case, you actually change the pitch, and a listener infers from how you are using your inflection the meaning of the word and their attachment interpretation. Pause, taking a break. We have 1 to 4 second pauses. We practiced in this class 1 and 2 mostly. And a slide is a pitch change in a word. In a word. Okay, there you have the definitions for the remainder of the chapter 4. And all of these terms will be in your exam too. Thank you. I'm going to stop sharing and I'll end the recording.